become president with more experience than our next president, Hillary Clinton, right? So there are so many reasons why Hillary is the right person at the right time. But I want to focus today on a couple of things, because I think these are things that will matter to folks here in New Hampshire. And hello to my friends in Massachusetts. Confuse me. Couple things. I think right now, one of the things that we need to drive and make very, very clear to people is that this is about working together, stronger together, remember. It's about working together to build an economy where everyone has the opportunity to succeed. Doesn't matter your zip code, doesn't matter where you started out in life. We know that we do better as a nation when everyone has the opportunity to get a good paying job. Hillary Clinton has been all about that. In contrast, you look at Donald Trump and what he offers, he's been all about slashing jobs, right? And about knocking people down in his own self-interest. So building a stronger economy, an economy that works for everyone. That's what Hillary is about. Now, she's going to get there by making the kind of investments that we need to make here in this country and here in New Hampshire, okay? Here in New Hampshire. Investments in infrastructure, in technology, in clean energy, and in education. These are things that matter. I'll just take a couple. Here in New Hampshire, a third of our bridges are being structurally deficient. They need help. And she knows the kinds of jobs that can be created by making the investments in that kind of infrastructure. Second, you look at the issue of broadband. You understand that here in New Hampshire, a third of the people are still without access to broadband. This is a consequence when you think about how much learning now goes on online and what's being asked of students in this modern era. So important that not only for education there be universal access to things like broadband, but for business and for economic growth. All of these are job opportunities for our state and for the country. These are the kinds of investments that Hillary Clinton is going to make. So drive that home with folks. Drive home that message, I ask of you. I also ask you to be clear with folks about what it is that Donald Trump is offering. It's been covered extensively, all his sexist, racist, xenophobic, misogynist comments, right? And I think the appointment of Steve Bannon from Breitbart is just par for the course, right? I mean, that sort of says it all. So I don't know how much you need to remind people of that. I do think that you need to be clear with people about who he is and his character, what his career has been about. To me, it's been all about Trump. You know, he is all about making himself great, aggrandizing himself at the expense of everyone else, at the expense of workers who were later fired, at the expense of contractors and small business owners who got into business with him, and at the expense of so many people, one failed business enterprise after another. You know, here in New Hampshire, we have 133,000 small businesses. Hillary Clinton's own father ran a small business. She understands small business. She understands how to support small business. In contrast to Donald Trump, who's done everything over the years, so well documented, the people that he has stiffed and left high and dry, small business owners, hardworking men and women across this country. Talk to people about that, because we know that so much of the lifeblood and the economic engine of our economy here in New Hampshire is really small business. Talk to people here on the Seacoast about that. And talk to people about the things that I think matter as you go forward. Because I don't care if you're a Democrat, a Republican, an independent. We all should share a unified interest in somebody who's got qualifications to be the commander-in-chief, the leader of the free world, and our president. We deserve somebody who has judgment and temperament that gives them the ability to do that job. It couldn't be clearer what we're looking at when we see Hillary Clinton versus Donald Trump. And so you know, like I know, with all of this, when we go door to door, you don't know exactly what you're going to end up talking about. Try to meet voters where they are, ask them what concerns them, and I guarantee you, dollars to donuts, on every single issue, you will be able to make the case for Hillary Clinton and make the case against Donald Trump. But think about the things that matter when it comes to electing our next president. We want somebody who's going to fight. I want somebody who's going to fight for people. I mean, that's why I ran as a people's lawyer, fighting for things like equal pay, fighting for working families, fighting for equality and justice and opportunity. That's, to me, I mean, this is what Hillary Clinton is about. This is what her life's work has been about. But we need somebody who's experienced, who's clear-minded, and who has, in this state that we're in right now, where there seems to be so much division and divisiveness across the country, somebody who's got a demonstrated record of bringing people together, of getting things done. One thing that stood out to me in recent weeks, watching the Republican convention, that some of us were down in Philadelphia for the most moving, inspirational Democratic convention. One thing that struck me is the number of Republicans who have come out and said, I'm with her. We are with her. Whether they are national leaders in foreign policy or national defense from prior Republican administrations, whether they're expert economists who say that what Trump is proposing is reckless and dangerous and will leave us in a recession for years to come. You name it, the number of people every day who come forward and say, enough is enough. I'm going to do something I may never have done before and vote for Democrat, because this is this election. This is the election that matters like no other election. This is about the future of our country. This is about the future of our world. And the good news for all of us here in New Hampshire is that we know we actually have the opportunity to do something about it. We've got 72 days. Let's seize every opportunity. Get after it. Get out there. Talk to people. Drink a lot of water. But keep walking and keep knocking. Because imagine, in this room today, imagine if each of you were able to just touch 3 people. And imagine rooms like this that we're going to fill over the coming days and weeks in the next couple of months. You touch a couple, 3 people. You get them on board. This is what we need to do. Not only to get Hillary Clinton in as our next president, but to also make sure that as our next president, she's able to act and fulfill an agenda. And that means taking back the Senate and making headway, if not taking back Congress. We got to do everything we can for Maggie Hassan, don't we?
Yes.
I'll leave you with one bit as a lawyer. To me, it really matters who sits on our next Supreme Court. It is really, really scary because Supreme Court justices sit for their entire life, okay? Well beyond any administration. We need to make sure that our next president, Hillary Clinton, has the opportunity to appoint justices who will abide by the rule of law and will live up to the principles that actually did make this country great. So, as somebody who has had the opportunity to see cases and be involved in cases litigated right through the Supreme Court, I know what can happen on those 5-4 votes. And I know that all the good work that has happened and progress made today on so many fronts, if you care about voting rights, affirmative action, if you care about civil rights, if you care that people are actually more important than corporations, it really matters that we need to get to work and work hard for Hillary Clinton, but for Maggie Hassan and Carol Shea Porter as well, okay? So we've done this before, you've done this before, most of you, some of you haven't. There's no better time, there's no better election, and I will tell you from the absolute bottom of my heart, there is no better person to get after it and work hard for than Hillary Clinton. I look forward to working with you now and in the days and weeks ahead. Thanks so much for being here.